strong connection. Strong connection indeed. Yep. Okay, here we go. I don't know what that means. I am not here to answer questions. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Maybe did you not mean to send it to me? No idea. We're operating on very little sleep. Oh, all right. Very little sleep. Yes. Oh, man, what a night. Wow. Whew. 5 hours. Like 5 hours. 5 hours. Man. And we're live at noon. Oh, there we go. Whew. Unbelievable. We're live in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Are we doing Road Patrol live? Of course we are. What are you, nuts? What part of every night do people understand? Folks, share that you were watching. What a night last night. We hit a new high for the year. New high for the year. And I don't mean cannabis. No, I don't. I wish I did. Unreal. All right, we are live in 1 minute. We will have the update on DePietro.com. Again, I didn't get home till after, I don't even know. I know when I felt like, all right, I think I'll go to sleep now, it was past 2 o'clock. But then you wake up at the same time every day, or at least I do. So, but here we are. I'm not complaining. I'm not. Nope. We'll break down the events of the last. All right, we're just waiting for our cue from Mr. JR, and we will commence the real news at noon. And it's growing. We will have the latest. And there it is, folks, at 12:06 on this Wednesday. Thank goodness, a short week. You are listening. This is the real news at noon. This is live at noon. No one can deny that. Many have tried. Nope, this is the real news at noon. You are listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, you can listen online at the website, DePietro.com. I'm already getting email. I'm on your website. Where are all the videos from last night? They're coming. It was a late night. It was over 5 hours. As I'm speaking right now, I'm just realizing. So I left. What time did I think I'd left my home at, let's see. I don't remember. It was after 7, right? I don't know. We were live at, I can tell you what time we were live, actually. Let me just humor myself here just for a moment so I'm accurate. I'm going to say, I think it was 7:34. I think it was 7:34 is when we went. I'm way wrong. 7:16, Robin put here. All right, so I did. I left my house before 7. Before 7, we were live at 7:60, or thereabouts, 7:15. Give her a minute to send it. And then I think I got home at 1:15, right thereabouts, right around there. And then you're up, right, because you're wired. But anyhow, we'll recap and tell you everything that happened last night. Again, I want to thank, folks, since we started the concept of road patrol, that not everybody understands. I get that. It's like everything else. Any concept that you start, you can't listen to the people because they're loud. The people that know the least are the loudest. That's what I have learned. Hey, ESPN, you know what people told them? No, who's going to want to watch sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Where are they now? Hey, allegedly, the parents of Perrier laughed at him, saying, who would want to buy water? I always like to tell the story. Harry Poland, what business did he go in? He had a brook near his house. He was convinced that people would pay to drink water out of the spring. His brother-in-law laughed at him. Of course, now known as Poland Spring. But Harry Poland, his brother-in-law laughed at him and said, who would ever pay for water? I can just have my faucet and drink it. So, but last night, actually, it was the Sunday with the 18-year-old homicide, the 18-year-old that was killed on his birthday. Then the 7-year-old that was shot and killed Thursday night. And then last night was Tuesday night. And then we had the incident in Cranston. So, again, I want to point out our Road Patrol team, Road Patrol Command Center, we were right on it. Listen, there's always things I want to do differently. Listen, we're live. It's unscripted. It's uncensored. Anyone that doesn't believe that hasn't listened when I start to get the chosen one gets a little tired and grouchy, and some of the language becomes a little unfamily friendly. However, but last night was one of those things. And as we start to expand into different platforms with the strategy that I am employing, it just keeps we have a new strategy that I'm employing that really worked out well last night. It did. So anyhow, folks, again, it's not for everyone. I still get the people that either is this live? I never thought that would be one of the problems that we encounter, that people can't grasp the concept of, is this live? No, we shot it Sunday night, but we thought we'd show it now. That I never thought that. I never thought. The human brain is very overrated. Very overrated. I think we really learned that during COVID, and I learn it every day. Number one, people that can't grasp the concept of live. That's number one. And number two, the people, and listen, they don't stop us, but that the individuals, I should say, that they don't understand that when things are happening in real time, you don't have instant answers. I think part of it, number one, is how people have become accustomed to just watching the news and they're told what's going on. I also think, number two, I think part of it is the fact that I think a number of people where you really, I think, kind of saw it maybe was in Butler, Pennsylvania. Well, there's various examples I could give. In Butler, Pennsylvania, the assassination attempt on President Trump, there were people, what's going on? What happened? Is he okay? How many people were shot? Like, they don't understand that in real time, you don't know what's happening. I think, and again, a very good example of this is I happen to be, actually, our family, we were watching Monday Night Football the night that Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills, as you know, was at one point, his heart stopped pumping on the field. Now, ABC, ESPN that had the game, I think, and they caught a lot of flack for this. They didn't know what to do. I think they should have stayed live They kept breaking for stupid commercials. But my point is, as DeMar Hamlin of the Bills, and you could see players crying, and you could see that very significant, very significant in a bad way had just happened on the field. But as it was live, the announcers in the booth, they didn't know what was going on. If anything, ESPN was really caught flat-footed on. They were late getting someone from the league on. They didn't have a doctor on. As I've said, CNN actually had better coverage of it. But my point is, there are people that they can't grasp that when something hits, they think that everything is immediate, like they can't even contain themselves. What's happening? What just happened? Is he okay? Is he gonna lie? Is he alive? Is he gonna die? What's happening? Like they just start sharing with us all the questions that their low IQ brain starts spitting out. But nonetheless, despite that, it's something we deal with all the time. I also just want to mention many times you'll see, and I get that some people don't get it, but when I'm live on a scene, for instance, we were, whether we were in Connecticut the night of the Ferrari chase or we were in Warwick for the standoff, people come up and they say, hey, what's going on? Now, admittedly, the proper way to say, excuse me, could you please tell me, do you have any idea what's happening here? I don't answer because, and want to be very clear, it's not my role to convey to the public in that manner, someone's coming by, what's going on. It's really up to the police. So when we're there and we're live, we're giving out the information that we know. But it's really, and I let me get back on topic here, but I'm going to talk about what happened in Cranston last night. But I encourage people, there's the police, ask them. It's not, when we're at a scene, it's not my role to start informing people in the neighborhood. Here's what's happening down here. That's not, I'm not the town crier. The chosen one is not the town crier. But I'm also struck by the manner in which people are like, hey, what's going on? Or most of the time they just say, what's going on? Not, excuse me. Is there any way you could please tell me what you might know? Or it's just somewhere in that regard. But anyhow, all right, let's get on track now that we're in a little bit of a no sleep rant. Folks, the Real News at Noon is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane, North Kingstown. Locally sourced vegetables, sweet corn, native tomatoes. They have it all. Family-run business. Stop in and see them. I think the world of them. They grind it. And remember, boy, did it cool off in a hurry. I mean, it's beautiful outside, but the temperatures have certainly cooled off. This is terrific time to do some planting in your yard. And they have beautiful, large selection, beautiful patio pots, annuals, perennials, trees and shrubs. This is a great time of year to do your planting because you need less watering. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. All right, now a couple of things. Number one, you check out DePietro.com. We do have we have more information actually, and there's a pattern regarding the little 7-year-old that lost her life, plus the video, plus the search warrant. Plus, we have more information coming on that. And then this afternoon, we will have the Cranston standoff videos and info up. But a very late night. And remember, DePietro.com, proudly brought to you by the Coesit Inn. 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. They're open 7 days a week. Perfect spot to hold a collation lunch. The Coesit Inn, and don't forget about the market at Coesit. So last night, I want to once again commend the Cranston police. As many of you know, it was my privilege, and I think we will ride again with the Cranston police, with Cranston PD Live. What you saw last night, that was a very difficult situation that could have gone sideways very easily. I want to commend the tremendous work of Sergeant Bruno with the Cranston police, with Commander Todd Padalano, who was on scene overseeing the whole operation. They did have Providence police involved. They had Warwick police involved. They had state police involved. I want to commend the Cranston police. Those were a lot of different agencies working together, a lot of moving parts. So my understanding, what I've been able to obtain now, also, this was almost like a home court advantage for the chosen one. I recognize a number of members of the media very upset with my coverage, very upset with my vantage point. Time out. We were first on the scene. I grew up in Edgewood, one street over from there. I know the terrain. I knew where to go. Move with the crowd, move no further than the crowd. I used to walk past that street to go to Fay Field for Little League practice. I literally grew up on Ferncrest right around the corner, and someone who had a very strategic point a number of people were coming in, saying hello and so forth. Anytime I go to Cranston, by the way, it is really remarkable. And I want to, thank all the people of Cranston. Now, last night I couldn't chat because of what was happening. I will come back at some point, but there should be no grumbling on that. Hey, listen, we're out. We're grinding. I am tired of these people. Oh, we have the bigger platform. Well, too blanking bad. That's for now, because our platform is growing. Nothing can deny or stop the momentum of Road Patrol Live. It's really simple. People like live, uncensored, boom, here's what's happening. Not, here's 90 seconds or what have you. So there should be none of that. Now, Bowen Street, what is right there. One of my, the Clarkins grew up on Bowen Street. The Friels lived on Bowen Street. The Clark's house led to was kind of an odd setup. Their garage was on Bowen and the house was on Ferncrest. Listen, I knew the terrain. I knew that, growing up. So Chester Barrow School to the left and then Road School farther down to the right. But that was not an easy situation. So what happened last night? Cranston Police, there was a disturbance. The subscribers have more info. Now, by the way, folks, again, I don't know how else I can explain it. If you want to know the real deal and right away, the subscriber page gets it. I have people that are just firing questions. I want to explain. I'm not the blanking answer man. I'm not. Every time someone shoots me a message, hey, what happened? But what you're asking for is not an answer. You're asking for time. And I have very little time. So I'll share something with you. The only people I really answer are subscribers because they support the mission and it's only going to increase. So what happened last night? Well, the answer's on the blanking subscribe. Well, that's not fair. Well, too bad. Yeah, life isn't. There's the information. We deliver. It's worth it. And it's only going to increase. I don't know how else to explain it. You're missing out. But what we understand, and I'll tell you some of it, the subscribers know what happened. But what happened was Cranston Police were called on a domestic, someone that had weapons. And, this was someone who, from what I understand, had potentially received some bad news and came up with a faulty plan of what they were going to do about it. So here's the real thing you need to know. Cranston Police think they're just responding to a domestic. Now, those of you that watch Road Patrol, how many times do we follow police to a domestic? How many times do we go to a domestic? Many times when it pans out and it's really, nothing. I mean, most of the time. But last night was something. Last night was where training came in. Last night is where leadership came in. Last night is where discipline came in. So I'll say this. The individual in the house, the wife is very fortunate that she was not shot and killed last night. A member of the Cranston Police, very fortunate to be alive because they were shot at and fired upon. And then there's even a neighbor on the street that one of the bullets entered. So this individual last night, this could have been a mass shooting. I believe the definition of a mass shooting is if there's 3 people fired upon. So it's possible last night that this individual, Neil Russell, he could have killed At least one Cranston police officer, maybe two. The wife and then a neighbor. Very, very possible. And the wife is fortunate, the neighbor is fortunate, and that Cranston police officer, at least one, there were two that were actually in a very vulnerable situation. They were lucky to be alive. You know, this was a house not on the radar. This was a house. Many times when we go to scenes, the police are called there repeatedly. This was not one of those situations. That was not one of those situations. I want to once again, and I've said this repeatedly, I mean it. I don't just say it because I grew up in Edgewood, one block over from there. Our first home was on Henry Street, right off Work Avenue, diagonally across from where that is. And then when Juan was a very young child, we moved across the street to Ferncrest, where we lived next to the Gershkoffs for many years in Edgewood. But Cranston police, as I tell you, it's real. And I want to say something about policing in general, because I have very low threshold, and there's something very bizarre happening with, and I don't want to get too off the beaten path because I do have news on the 7-year-old. So, but folks, this portion of the program, when we're speaking of Cranston, Cranston is on the move. Cranston has great people that are part of it. Cranston has great neighborhoods. Cranston has decent schools, could be better. Probably something lacking, but nonetheless, but very enjoyable, quality of life, plus we're there. And one of the things Cranston has is Valari Motors, right there on Park Avenue, specializing in Volvo sales and service, selling quality pre-owned vehicles. 1003 Park Avenue in Cranston, Valari Motors. Support them. Stop in. You're a support. Say, hey, Paul, I want to meet you. I hear the chosen one mentioning you. Valari Motors, the guy's the greatest. He lives in Cranston. He is a business in Cranston. He's running for office in Cranston. Valari Motors, great prices, great vehicles, great service. See what he has. And on top of 27 years of specialized Volvo sales and service, and on top of that, you also have Stephen the mechanic. Stop in and see Paul and Stephen at Valari Motors. Now, Cynthia sent me a message. She has some trees she needs trimmed. She asked, who did I recommend? Cynthia, thank you for the email. Folks, if you ever have a question about one of our supporters, you can always contact. Those questions I answer. JD Lawn Care and Tree Service, 401-441-0154. Now, I'm not going to do a big rant about this, but there is certainly a big dividing line of how people in Rhode Island view law enforcement and people in Massachusetts. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm going to change that. And I'm not suggesting that if people want to have their opinion that all police are corrupt, I'm not going to be the one to try to convince them. Then go ahead. So, but last night, it is remarkable to me as we're seeing that. And some of these free Karen Reed people, I even hesitate to even mention this because then they come out of the woodwork like roaches. The free Karen Reed people were saying that they were rooting for the man in the house. Now, I'm just going to say, now again, I don't know who these people are. If you actually think that, I'm just going to tell you, there's something. I'm glad I don't know you. I'm glad I'm not related to you. And I'm glad I don't work with you. If you think that, there's something wrong with people that think that. The Sandra Birchmore case is very serious. That officer was arrested. The feds and the U.S. attorney certainly seemed, they make a compelling case that this was a homicide, that this guy killed this Sandra Birchmore while he was a Stoughton detective. But Karen Reed yesterday comparing her supporters to Vietnam protesters is just, I can't even listen to the foolishness anymore. I can't. Other people just want to stay head first into it. First, they were compared to Black Lives Matter protesters. Now they're Vietnam protesters. If people want to believe that. But what I am troubled at is, in so many ways, people talk about Massachusetts compared to Rhode Island. And I admit, listen, Massachusetts does have better schools. I mean, who can argue with that? Boston College, Harvard, MIT, Northeastern. The city of Boston speaks for itself. It's an international city. But I'll just say this. I get everybody's entitled to their opinion, much like everyone has a certain feature of their body on the backside. But this business of what I'm asking people to block that out and just look at the work that you've seen, law enforcement, that we have shown just in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to start with the Warwick standoff. Warwick police were in a very difficult situation, very delicate, difficult situation. And to me, Chief Connor and his staff, they handled it textbook. You have Providence Police, very delicate situation, and they have a 7-year-old girl who suffered a very serious gunshot wound, and they had suspects. Boom, they moved on them within 13 hours. Hey, I'll even say Saturday night. That was a difficult situation for Warwick Police to deal with. They're lucky they didn't have a stampede of people piling out of the Warwick Mall movie theater because some moron set off fireworks and people thought it was gunshots. Think of a movie. It's pitch black. That could have gone sideways. What if somebody was in the theater that had a concealed weapon and came out and whatever? And then last night, I mean, you saw Cranston police. You have someone opening fire in a neighborhood. And you're not going to do that in Cranston. So in Providence Police, we were there when they were executing the search warrant and the way they conducted themselves Friday. So let me just be crystal clear. I'm not going to get in debate with these people. I have such a disdain for these people that just want to, all cops are corrupt. If you think that, you're pathetic. That's number one. Number two, for the free Karen Reed people, which no one's ever going to convince me differently, that it was a hit and run that was then fatal. A fatal hit and run is what it was. Period. End of story. That then you're rooting for the guy in the house. I'm just saying that is filth. I have no patience. I can't tell you the little patience I have for that. But that is the difference of Rhode Island and Mass. I don't hear it. I mean, criminals don't like police, right? But these people, there's something, it is crossed over. It's crossed over for people that believe that. Now, folks, I want to remind you on this Wednesday. Now, as you see, I'm very active. And there's been a lot of, I'm not complaining, there's a lot of walking lately. I had to walk to get through to where I was last night. And then the past couple of nights. And then actually Thursday night in Oneyville with the shooting of the 7-year-old. Fatal shooting, as a matter of fact. A lot of walking. I wouldn't be able to do that if I had foot pain. So if you're listening or watching on this Wednesday and you have a problem with your foot or ankle, contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist today, 401-949-3220. 401-949-3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. They have 3 doctors, beautiful facilities, which I have visited, located right in that Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. On this Wednesday, if you're complaining of foot pain or skin condition, bunion, hammer toe, plantar fasciitis, whatever, Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, their doctors, all board-certified podiatrists, and they take all health insurance. They have fantastic facilities. They have digital x-ray. They take all health insurance, and foot pain is not normal and should not be ignored. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Call them today. Find them on Facebook, and then their website is greenvillefootandAnkle.com, or call them at 401-949-3220. All right, enough on that rant, but I mean it. So what is going on? We have that individual in Warwick, self-harm, did have a firearm, but self-harm, and then chose another means in the basement of the home. That was the day we had two of the children in the chat, and then last night I don't know what's happening, but I will tell you folks that because people, then you had the guy in North Providence with the standoff. Um, Armed robbery in Cranston for the Ferrari. We need the police. We need to support law enforcement. I would just argue that I don't have an answer to what it is. But as I have said in the past, there's there's an awful lot, there's a lot of drugs floating around. There are a lot of people that are not thinking clearly. Many people, many times you need to realize, and maybe some people realize this, maybe they don't. There are many times, I interviewed this guy one time, he was a career criminal, and he said when he would get caught, the only way this is years ago, I interviewed this guy, he did a lot of robberies, did armed robberies, even did a bank robbery. But what he explained was the only way he could do it was he would have like 4 shots. He couldn't do it. If he said, I couldn't do the crimes if I was sober. I had to be. But the problem is then when you're doing those things, you're not thinking clearly. But what you need to understand is many of the people that are committing these crimes, they're not in their right frame of mind. There's so many drugs available. And again, I want to commend Attorney General Peter Nerona, and that may surprise people. But he put out on Twitter, he's on X, he gets criticized for being there, but he said, boy, all this enthusiasm for the Celtics championship trophy and for the independent man statue. He said, I wish there was that type of enthusiasm for fixing the bridge. One of the problems that we have in our state is you have a governor who he doesn't want the job that is really assigned to him. Yesterday was a good example of the job that Governor McKee really wants. Is he wants to be he wants to be the greeter at Walmart. He doesn't want to be the CEO making tough decisions. He wants to stand there with Joe Mazzulla with the championship trophy. He wants to, look at that independent man. He still thinks he's the lieutenant governor. This guy, as I have told you folks repeatedly, he is leading us into the abyss. Ferraris are being robbed at gunpoint, home invasions. 7-year-olds are being killed. 18-year-olds are being killed. Men are unaliving themselves in these standoffs. And Governor McKee is posing with the Celtics championship trophy. Folks, this is the same time. And you mark my words on this Wednesday, September 4th. You think it's bad now. Wait till he starts. Governor McKee, number one, continues through the state as a sanctuary state, which what does that do? It increases the lawlessness that goes on here. And then if you think this is bad, wait until that safe injection center. And it's a huge complex. Those of you that watch Road Patrol Live, I can't believe how big the building is. 20,000 square feet. Governor McKee's decision. Just hear me out. People won't remember, but somebody will say, I remember he used to mention, be careful. Governor McKee and Matos, there they were posing yesterday with the Celtic trophy. The decision to legalize in Rhode Island, to legalize illicit drugs, meth, crack, cocaine, heroin. The decision by Governor McKee and Matos to legalize that is going to turn this place. You're going to see The Walking Dead all over the place. And my point is there's going to be more instances of this. The self-harm cases are going to rise. The domestic situations are going to rise. The robberies are going to increase. Unexplainable behavior will be on the rise. How many people? I've interviewed people. I didn't know. You saw the guy swimming in the Providence River near the mall. Apparently, he got his hands on either some bad crack or monkey weed. He was sweating so profusely, he jumped into the Providence River and was swimming by the mall, which I'm not convinced that water is the cleanest. So the problem is, if you see any of this stuff, that the people in their actions, they can't explain their behavior, is my point. So it becomes a pattern of they're engaging in behavior that they can't even explain, but it's putting themselves at risk. It's putting the police at risk. It's putting family members at risk. It's putting other people, or everyone, at risk. It's putting police at risk. Last night, listen, I have a mindset. If somebody is not hesitating to fire at the police, they're certainly not going to hesitate to fire at me. I adopted that during the BLM riots of 2020. When I would see them punch a police officer, when the Black Lives Matter protesters would throw a bottle at the police officer, or they would go to the dollar store and they'd buy all these cans of tomato soup. Gee, why are they buying? I guess I didn't know that. If you go to like the dollar store, you can get like 4 cans of Campbell's soup in the can now. I think you could get like 4 for $1. So they'd buy $5 worth or $10 worth, whatever. So they'd have shopping bags. When I first started watching the protests, I'd be like, what are they doing with these shopping bags? Or then they'd even have water bottles, but they were frozen water bottles. To answer the question, so when you take one of those Campbell's soup cans and throw them in the air, that is like getting hit by a brick. I had a security guard got hit right above the eye. Suddenly he's next to me. You see this thing, boom, and hit the guy, one of my security people, right next to me. Big gash, blood coming down. It's like, all right, he needs to go to the hospital. All right, we're down to 3. Gee, I wonder who they were aiming for. My point is, I realize if they're willing to do that, when they're throwing them at the police, when you have an individual, a Black Lives Matter person, and face no consequences, by the way, they take a Poland Spring frozen water bottle, freeze it, and then throw it at police. If you get hit with something like that, I am telling you, it's like a brick. So I realized, wow, if they're going to do that to police, they're not going to hesitate to come after me. And my point is, it shouldn't be lost on people that this individual shot at the Cranston police last night. Because if they're going to shoot at the police, they're not going to hesitate to shoot at us. There's no doubt, no way. That crosses a line. Crosses a line. And I just mean they've gone into territory that many times you do that, you can't come back. Police are under attack. Dallas, that police officer was killed. And that nutcase was looking to take the life. The way this is fueled up, it's a very dangerous atmosphere. And I want to once again, at the, and at the risk, I don't even like talking about it because you can't even talk to these people. But for these people to, the Sandra Birchmore story, that's real, I believe, of an individual involved and then maybe negligent. But the other one, that is fabricated, making up that there was a police conspiracy. Folks, this portion of the program, if you're thinking of updating your kitchen or bath, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen, what Dennis and Christina are so talented, call them 401-433-7272. Now, they're right on Greenwich Avenue in Warwick. They are beautiful design center, state-of-the-art. Dreammaker, 401-433-7272. Dreammaker, full-service remodeling company. So right now, if you're thinking, hey, I may update my kitchen, contact them. Of all the people you can contact Dreammaker today and transition from dreams to reality. Again, fantastic, state-of-the-art design center, right in Warwick near Crown Plaza. Dreammaker. I share their Facebook page, 401-433-7272. Well, folks, this portion of the John DePietro Show we'll get back to the presidential campaign stuff. That debate now is less than a week. Oh, I'm so nervous. The debate is less than a week. Trump Harris next Tuesday night. And race to the White House brought to you by Propane Plus, 401-885-4209 in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus heating and cooling. Again, check out their website. It's propaneplus.com. You just type in your zip code, residential or commercial, you can depend on Propane Plus. Now, in regards to the little 7-year-old, it's so terrible. And I want to repeat what I said, which for some reason people get upset at. There was someone upset that I posted, you can't pick your parents. That's true. You can't pick your family. You certainly can't pick your parents. So you don't blame the children. So I know that the two shooters are pushing back. And so some people connected to the shooters are reaching out to me and want me, that there's more to the story. And I think we have, as I have talked about, and if you check DePetro.com, and I've told the subscribers, okay, now they're seemingly, there's two different, there's the father who was driving them, and then there were the two shooters. So let me start with the shooters. It is true they were being driven. That's true. It is true there's a female driving them. What I have learned is, the female that was driving them may have had some kind of relationship with the father. So the father sees, again, I'm not intimating anybody's married here, God forbid. I'm just saying there could even be a child from this relationship. So you have a female driver in one car, and in the car are the two shooters, suspects. One's 19, one's 26. So it's very possible that as the cars are encountering each other, now the father's 27 years old, he's got a very long criminal history, and he's got a 5-year-old in the back and a 7-year-old, the brother and sister. So something happened. Hey, I don't know. Maybe one of the suspect shooters gives the table for one salute. I don't know. But what we do know is the father with the two children in the car started aggressively going after. Maybe the female driving did something. I don't know the particulars. I'll leave that. Eventually, all this stuff will come out. But here's what we do know is, and there's video of this. At some point, the cars stop. And the two suspects get out of the vehicle. So maybe they think they're gonna talk to him. I don't know. Maybe if he realizes he can't. I can't get inside the mind of that individual. But what we do know, and this is 100%, and let me be very clear. I don't take kindly to people like, you need to show me. I don't need to show you anything. Let's just be really clear about that. Some people, it is the ultimate, like, who the blank do you think you're talking to? No. I don't need to show you anything. You want me to show you something. I don't need to show something to anyone like that. If you don't want to believe it, you don't have to believe it. Like, sometimes it's the ultimate, where do you get off? One thing about social media is you really have to watch your language, because if you type for someone to commit a certain act, they frown on that type of thing. So it doesn't mean I don't think it. It doesn't mean I don't want to say it, but I don't say it. But I am put off by someone. I need to see the vid. Hey, listen, you think I blanking care whether you believe it or not? I am telling you, it is solid. There is video of the father aggressively driving towards the two suspects who leap out of the way onto the sidewalk. He goes near them. Someone told me up on the sidewalk, then I heard close, but not on the sidewalk. As a result of him driving his car at them, they take out, bang, 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 and fire several shots. Now, I'm not excusing that they fired. I'm not excusing anybody here. I'm not excusing them firing on him. That's not a defense. They didn't fire one shot. I don't know what to make of that. So now, if he had parked the car and got out and was coming at them in a threatening manner, and maybe he had a weapon, that's one thing. There's make no mistake about it. There's no excuse for them firing. However, you have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old in the back. Maybe that's not the time to mix it up with these other individuals. So I want to be very clear. Eventually, it'll all be rooted out. The adults let down the children in this situation. Period. End of story. Hey, listen, here's a novel concept. The father is driving along. He's got his 5-year-old and 7-year-old in the car. He's being followed by the two shooters and the female driver. Gee, I don't know. You know, those of you that watch Road Patrol, many times there's a call of someone that calls police and says that there's someone pursuing them in an unfriendly manner. Boy, there's a novel concept. Let the police handle it. God, this whole element of all handle. Oh, okay. Yeah, look what happened. I don't know what happened. So let me be crystal clear. No, it's not justified. So, well, here's something I'm hearing from the shooters and their friends. Well, they didn't know they were in the car. Well, irregardless, look at what happened. Well, he shouldn't have been driving at them when two kids in the car. True. Both can be true. No, he shouldn't have been doing that, but they also shouldn't have fired. No, especially when I don't know, he was then on his way. Maybe that was all it was going to be. I'm not excusing anybody's actions here. I want to be crystal clear about that. Some people can't comprehend that. Oh, so you're saying, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there were 3 adults, 4 actually, the female driver, the 2 shooters, and then the father. So there's 4 people involved. Did the 3 people in one car know there were 2 children in that vehicle? I have no idea. Did the father know? As someone sending me a message. Well, he didn't know they were armed. All right. Well, despite that, the 2 children in the back seat did nothing wrong. The adults in the equation let them down. That's where we sit. And it's very, very sad. And it's very tragic. And it was completely avoidable. So, you could argue both ways. You're the father. You're unhappy with the individuals in the other vehicle. Maybe that is a female you had a relationship with. Maybe that's a female you share a child with. Maybe you're unhappy that one of the shooters is bragging that he's now, having relations with one of your baby mamas. Time and place. If you want to handle that, I'm just arguing that's not the time to handle it with a 5-year-old, 3-year-old. Now the shooters, well, he drove his car at us. Yeah, but he missed. There's no excuse for firing the weapon. We didn't know the kids were in the car. Well, it doesn't matter. All right, let's play this out. The kids aren't in the car. He's driving his car at you. You shoot fire, hit him, and then he kills some children down the street on the sidewalk. There is zero justification for those guns to be pulled and fired. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear any of the nonsense. And then the same goes for, okay, maybe you could take them on. Hey, maybe he was carrying a weapon and wanted to go after them. I don't know. But there's time and place, and that was not the time or place. Well, they didn't know the children were in the car. Well, they know now. They know now. We all found out about that. Folks, this portion of our program, if you need your driveway paved, I mean, some of the stuff that people try to peddle to me, as if it's like a justification. Be an adult. Be a responsible adult. Be a mature adult. You have two little lives. You were man enough to bring them into the world. You didn't protect them. That is not the time to get into an incident. And so many people are focused on the female driving the car. I don't know what to make of that. So unless, even still, I don't know. And I'm actually less interested in that angle of the story, unless she knew the children were in the car, unless she knew that, and maybe the driver's going to face charges. I think there could be more charges coming in this case. Tomorrow we'll talk with our legal expert, attorney Tim Dodd. Did the female driver know they were armed? I don't know. Did the female driver know they were going to shoot? I don't know. Did the female driver know those children are in the vehicle? Again, I don't know. But all those things could be the case. But it still comes down to me, three men. Three adults. One 19, one 26, and the father 27. Folks, if you're thinking of getting your driveway paved, call J. Perry Paving today, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service. If you're listening or watching on this Wednesday, maybe you're thinking of getting your driveway paved, or maybe you're going to get the parking lot paved. Free estimate, any project, J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730. Look for them on Facebook. The website is jperrypaving.com. And then remember, no one has a better package for veterans than J. Perry Paving. Call today, 401-732-1730 for J. Perry Paving. Folks, I also want to remind you about my friend Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Everything healthy. If you live in Cumberland, she is diagonally across from Davenport Restaurant. It's My Health. And I love the whole concept. Our healthy, quality products at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Maybe right now in real time, you're at a red light or you're somewhere on Mendon Road. Pop in to that historic white church and say hello to my friend Marie. And she has hemp and CBD products. She has all kinds of great teas. She has everything healthy. She has vitamins for children. She has ingredients that you could put into some of your cooking that's just healthy for you. It's My Health. And you want to support a quality local retailer like It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Well, folks, good afternoon. At 12:55, you're listening to the John DePietro Show. As far as the 7-year-old, listen, it's very tragic what happened. I know people are sending me the GoFundMe for the family and blah, blah, blah. We don't do GoFundMes. There's too many. If I did GoFundMes, I'd be posting them every single day. You post one, you got to post all of them. And then on top of that, no, the father's a criminal. I'm not giving them any money. I'm not encouraging anyone to give them money. The little girl is gone. That's nothing against the mother, and it's nothing against the little 5-year-old brother. So I think the city will reach out and help them. I think there are other people that will help them. No, I'm not doing anything to help any of the adults that are involved in this. It was avoidable. It is devastating. Everyone is thrown by it. That little girl, 7 years old, who was so excited that she already planned that she was going to walk her brother to school on his first day, hold hands of kindergarten. That is sweet. That is beautiful. That's what, you can picture that she's 7 years old, soon to be 8. That, the pride of her little brother, and the little brother so proud that his big sister was going to walk him to school. And this is, I am absolutely disgusted by it. And let me also just go a step further. And I said it yesterday. This is nothing against Joe Mazzulla, who I've met before. And again, I knew his dad. Joe Mazzulla, former Hendrick and Hawk, the West Virginia coach of the Celtics, came into town and championship trophy at the State House. But my problem is with Governor McKee and Matos, and I don't know. There's just something. Yesterday was the first day of school. I get it that was the window, and I'm not throwing it on Joe Mazzulla, but Governor McKee, and he's even wearing a T-shirt that said "whatever it takes." Everyone else is in a suit. McKee thinks like maybe they're going to ask him to be the assistant coach of the Celtics. I believe Governor McKee, to me, they're so tone deaf. So first day of Providence, as I said, I think it would say, we were going to have a ceremony at the State House, but instead, we really would like to go to the school with the trophy. We'd like to meet the little 5-year-old brother. Maybe we'd like to meet the mother. I wouldn't say the father should pose with it, but maybe some of the little girls, some of her little friends, to remember her. When you're 7, you have friends. The girl was almost going to be 8. So let alone the brother is in the back seat. When you're 5 years old, you remember that. You remember things when you're 5. You remember being carried out of the car. You remember when suddenly it was a loud noise. He saw it all. He saw it all. There's something tone deaf that they went ahead and had that ceremony. And there's something about Governor McKee hoisting the trophy like he had accomplished something when that little child had died less than 24 hours earlier. That's my thought. All right, folks, on the radio show, Donna Perry is going to join us next hour. Yes, Road Patrol Live later. Right now, we're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. Again, folks, visit the website, depetro.com. We're back on the other side after the 1 o'clock news.